Hello everyone and welcome to my first campaign diary. A campaign diary in Dungeons & Dragons is just a brief recap of the previous adventure. Because our group gets together every 2 weeks, and some people miss here and there, I thought this would be a good, quick recap of the previous adventure. For those who jump in next time, they'll know what happened. So our adventure started leaving Hargul's lair, leaving the lair of the Lich, with a little side adventure for the few that could make it the week before. But leaving Hargul's lair, the party finds itself on effectively a glacier, a snow plain. They can see a frozen city in the distance about 10 miles away, but they have to make their way towards it. And a lot of the character reactions were, this is the first time I've seen a glacier. This is the first time I've seen this much open space, and it was a little unnerving, and I think some characters even said they felt very exposed to this. As the party approached the city, they found themselves surrounded by winter wolves, but with a little special ability that was our Goliath Barbarian had. He was able to actually communicate with them, and the winter wolves were not really interested in the party. The winter wolves were much more concerned in tracking the firehounds, what we would find out eventually are hellhounds, who had made an appearance when the party was on their way to Hargul's a couple of game sessions ago. But they wanted to try and get rid of that threat. And the party, through its interpreter of our Goliath, managed to avoid combat, but maybe perhaps recruit an ally if they can kill the hellhounds. So they finally reach the frozen city. They track around. They go in the south gate. The city is very large. It's about 3 miles long, about 1.5 miles wide, with one massive gate in the southern end. And they enter the gate, and they're in an open plaza, and they are attacked by this creature. I will call it a Chasme. This is a flying demon. One of the things I ran into in this session, that we are entered a new realm. We've done a lot of undead, we've done a lot of humanoids, but we are now into demons and things that are not of this plane of existence. And one thing about this looks like a mosquito from hell. It is a 6-foot-long mosquito from hell. It dive-bombed and surprised many of the party members. It was going to use that 2 or 3 foot long spiked proboscis on Gareth, but our brave paladin has an entangle spell. He got to go first. He got to cast it, and that entangled the Chasme and made him relatively easy to defeat. So, after that encounter, the party had a choice to go west or east. They chose to go east. And the next thing they ran into, they were going through residential neighborhoods where 2 of these lovely creatures, Barlguras, they are the muscle, as you can imagine, of demons. Pretty unintelligent, but very brutal and powerful. They walked into what is effectively a charnel house. They were definitely eating and tormenting a number of humanoids, player character races, you name it, trying to figure out, there was a fight. They were fairly easy to overcome, but the party decided for time's sake to just really move past them. Next thing, they found a trapped devil, a horned devil. He was in a very large building strapped to the ceiling. His wings were spread out, arms and legs spread eagle, and his tail was bound as well. This captured devil was a social encounter. This was an opportunity for the party to learn more about what on Earth, or not on Earth, is going on. And there was more to it, but there were 3 really big pieces of information that this horned devil provided the party. Those three pieces of information. First is that this frozen city was constructed by a race from the astral plane called the Githyanki. During the adventure, they noticed the streets were extra wide, door frames were 8 and 9 feet tall, even 10 feet tall, and that's because the Githyanki are lean, 7-foot tall extraterrestrials. They are a very martial race. They are a very structured race. But on the astral plane, that time doesn't move. So a Githyanki could still look like an infant, but be several thousand years old. So the Githyanki build cities on other planes of existence to be able to physically mature. So what happened? This city served that purpose at some point, but for reasons still undetermined, was abandoned. Second is that the Horned Devil was spying on the demons as part of a bigger part of Dungeons & Dragons and this era's information called the Blood War. One of the ways, yes, a lot of Dungeons & Dragons is good fights evil, but one of the things that helps keep the balance is that evil fights evil too. Demons and devils are different species. Demons are chaotic evil. They don't want to destroy the world, but they just destroy. They don't have a plan for afterward. Whereas devils, the one captured and chained to the ceiling, devils are lawful evil. They believe in order. They believe in contracts. And that's something we hinted at a little bit in the conversation. The devil will try to make a bargain and capture your soul. The devil went down to Georgia. Faust is a great literary example as well. So this horned devil was here to find out what's going on. Things did not go so well, and he was captured. But the third part is that the head demon is located somewhere in the Wizard's Tower in the northwest part of the city. As the parties moved through it, they could see over the walls in the neighborhoods there was two very large structures at the northwest and the northeast corner. The northwest was a wizard. It looked like a classic wizard's tower. It's white, covered in snow, but it's that tall, slender tower. Where in the northeast corner there was a different, almost like a pyramid, and they learned additionally that that is a temple of some form that is still standing. So with that social encounter, the party kept moving. The next thing they ran into is they moved into sort of a big courtyard, lots of practice dummies, some broken weapons, etc. And they were attacked by this lovely, now we're back to demon, called a Vrak. It is, velociraptor with wings and flies. I think there is a theme that we have seen that is changing, moving through areas like this. At higher levels, you're going to see more things that can burrow. You're going to see more things that can fly. And eventually, I would say probably more things that teleport on the battlefield is coming up. The Vrak wasn't much of a battle either. Now, the trouble is, in the training courtyard, they can find there's a series of towers and gates that move them from the southern half of the city to the northern half, but the gate in this training courtyard was blocked. It was impassable. So the party had to continue to move to the east. When they moved east, they came upon a hound keeper, which is a Knoll chieftain and hellhounds. It gives you a picture. The hellhounds made their appearance as you were on your way to Hargul's, but here was the leader, the trainer, a 7-foot-tall dog individual. Now, you may say, Knolls, generally speaking, are not part of the demonology categories when you start lumping together monsters. But Knolls, as their deity, do pray to demons. And this, of all the battles of the evening, this was one of the more difficult ones. And the particular reason is that Hellhound breath weapon catches a lot of characters in its effect. So even during the battle, only one got a breath weapon off, but it did a lot of damage. And again, this Knoll is a pretty stout fighter in his own right. Once the fighting stopped, the party could see there was a gate to the north, moving into the northern half of the city. That was open, but they also had the option to continue east. So what will happen in our next game session? When our adventure continues, the question is, what awaits in the Wizard's Tower? What is there? What kind of demon has set up shop? What about the temple? That was sort of one of the questions of which one of these do we want to go to next. And one of the things, for time's sake, daylight and stuff like that, there was loot to be found at the Barluga after that fight. The party decided to just kind of push through, clear the city, and come back. But the question remains, what did they leave behind? And these questions, and maybe more, we hope to find an answer in our next game session.